I'm going to summarize with this couple of slides. So in PDP, you are supposed to do all this. It's a bit small, but I've enlarged it in the subsequent couple of slides, so you can see it clearer. Understanding the needs. Okay, this is something that needs include regulatory requirement. And one of the things I need to warn you, sometimes be very mindful that for smaller organization, even things like BSafe may get you. The auditors will get involved in BSafe. I mean, the work health and safety, something like that. That risk assessment is totally different from the risk assessment we are doing in BCP. Okay, BSafe means if my cleaning lady, the auntie, going to clean the glass, fall down, I'm liable. To me, that's not my risk. My risk is my office being burned down, my computer system fails. That's the risk and threat to me. So be very mindful, don't get caught into that cycle, because our virtual risk is totally different. Okay, so this is understanding a need. Regulations is very important. Scope. The reason why I say regulation is very important is because when I'm in the bank, subsequently most banks will be going for ISO 22301. You will be heavily benchmarked against the central bank standard. And also Basel II and Basel III. Example, those standards that are governing the world financial transaction. So be mindful that this standard allows the full integration of all the standards to be embedded to be certified. So I see big banks like even Citibank, within the next 12 months or so, they will go into ISO 22301. Because then they say, okay, now I have one standard for all BCM program. So this is the trend, but again, unless you want to be the first bank in the world to be certified, then go ahead. If not, then take your time. Just get your plans in place first. Next, scope. Scope is very important. Remember, the scope will determine what's auditable. Okay, so the only part I'm not comfortable with is some banks can say, can you audit only my treasury? Can you audit only my this portion? I have a problem with that, because BCM, it cannot be audited component level, but in the world of the ISO, it can be done. That's the part which I heavily disagree, because you cannot audit this without support, admin, facilities, HR involved. You can't do that, but yet the certification audit allows you to do that. I have a problem, but when I do it, if I implement it, I will never allow this stuff to happen. I will still have to pull in the HR, the rest of people, support unit to be part of this plan, to be effective. So the word effectiveness and performance is based on interdependency. Okay, then we talk about the leadership. This standard, if you deploy it correctly, your CEO and your management will be involved, has to be involved, because the first bunch of guys to be audited in the ISO 22301 will be your management team. Interesting. I liked it, because every time when we stand up, I'm always the one getting hammered. But now with this standard, the auditors will say, I want to see your management, I want to see your chairman, I want to see your CEO first before we start this exercise. And the CEO must know what he's talking about. If not, then he will be raised against the leadership and top management support now. The other thing about this standard, which is very powerful here, is top management commitment is very explicit. There's a lot of shell there, which means getting budget. If they are intending to implement this standard, it becomes much easier for us. That's the one that I'm seeing from a positive point of view. Okay, then we talk about planning. Planning is what we have addressed all the risks. In this standard, the risks include supply chain risks. Okay, so be mindful. So when you are starting your exercise, please scope the audit correctly. If you don't scope it correctly, they will talk about what happened to if we have a volcano eruption in Europe again, all your roses cannot come to Singapore. Okay, so these are things. It's our scope. Then we talk about support. How do you support this entire program? Again, the word competency is heavily used in this exercise. That's why I say the competency has one advantage to us is BCM Institute. We have to help you build competency. All right, so that's the only advantage I have with this standard. Okay, so but the competency, it becomes a very complex requirement, and the routine ones and the characteristic. Like example, BCP manager must have leadership, be able to make decisions. How do you measure those? And they are going to ask you that question. How do you do it? So we've been audited, because when we were doing BS 25999 in BCM Institute, we actually got the European team to come in to audit us, and we got hell. Okay, because they come from a different world.